You're tuned into Women in Bloom, a mother-daughter personal development podcast for women in their bloom season. Life comes at you fast, and to that we say, bloom anyway.
Mya Dixon Ajanku is an educator, cultural worker, and writer whose work centers the healing, visibility, and self-definition of Black girls and women. Drawing on over 2 decades of experience in education, dance, and cultural practice, she creates resources that encourage reflection, empowerment, and personal growth. She is the creator of the Inspire Journal Collection, a series of guided journals designed to help women reconnect with themselves through intentional writing. Grounded in the Akam principle of Sankofa, go back and fetch it, Mya's work explores journaling and storytelling as pathways to healing, identity, and liberation. Y'all, help us welcome Mya D. Ajanku to the Women in Bloom podcast.
Eldris and I are back with a very special guest. We are so excited to talk to Mya D. Mya is here today. You just heard her bio. She is someone that specializes in journaling, journal prompts, and has her own story of how journaling has supported her along her journey. So I'll, initially just start with Mya. What does journaling mean to you personally? And I guess historically, because in our warm-up call, you mentioned that it's something that you started when you were younger and it's been supporting you in different seasons.
Yeah, journaling is my tool for processing big thoughts. Now I have the language to say that I've always been a passionate person. If I love you, you're going to know it. If I do not love you, you're going to know it as well. And that passion was there as a very small child. I remember my mother saying, go get your mind right. Go get your words right before you fix your mouth to talk to me. And that was a direction to journaling. So at a very young age, just planning out what I was going to say to her or writing through the conversation allowed me to get some steam off. So that practice was introduced very, very young. And I've just kind of modeled and shaped it to fit whatever thing I'm going through in life. So whether I'm preparing for that big conversation or just having a mind dump, I always go to journaling. So I have several journals throughout. Like I have my dance journal where I'm writing things that I learned for my dance classes or in process for creating dances. Then I also have a woman, that is not what we're talking about right now, but you need to write this note down. Let me capture this note real quick journal. And then I have my emotional processing journal. So I'm someone that I always have something to write on with me at all times because it allows me to work through those big thoughts, big feelings.
Okay, I just learned you just dropped some jewels. But first, shout out to your mom for instilling that, because I think I remember in our world call, go get your mind right. That is such a powerful teaching tool, right? A development tool for parents to use. Get your mind right first, right?
Yeah, regulating. It's a tool for regulation, like emotional regulation. Eldris and I are both people that have multiple journals and books, because I think the journal also functions. I have I don't know, I guess I would call it a work journal. Everybody carries around a work notebook, and there's a running list of to-dos that get put in there. But for me, that's how I organize mine. But there are moments where I'm writing down little tidbits, little gems, and just thoughts. I keep one in my phone, in my notes. I have a notes one, and I have a document for my Buddhism journaling things. I have one for sister friend gems or words of advice or encouragement that folks have given me over the. I mean, just a running list of things that I want to write down. So the idea of that notebook or something to write on, for me, it's almost like a security blanket. It's a comfort in knowing that look, I'm not gonna miss nothing that I really want to catch because I have my notebook here. Eldris has had some experience with stumbling across my notebooks as my as a young child. When I said there was some heat on them things, because I only went to them when I was upset. I knew it is to my mother, or to my dad, or to my siblings. It was when I was on punishment or something. And I really can't say it. But I also have. I'm sorry.
I'm laughing because I too have experienced that. Even though my mother was the person that invited me into this process, I have several sisters, and my sister was about to get in trouble for something, and she was like, "But mommy, Guess what Mya wrote in her journal?
Wow. Ooh.
Gotta love siblings.
Sometimes
I love the siblings. So
I love that when you categorized it and said, I use this for this. Like one, this here's the two jewels I got, having different journals for different things. And the other is always having a journal with you. Right? Because I don't do that, but I see that that's a good practice. So tell us a little bit about those practices.
yeah, journaling has many benefits. That there is that self-regulation, but there's also things like creativity. So when those thoughts come in, just jotting them down. And I like to think about one, I like to say that your journal can be anything. It can be the notes, it can be just text, it can be a piece of paper. I think back to William Shakespeare, they say that he wrote Romeo and Juliet on a napkin at some like type of event, and then the napkin was thrown away, whatever. but the idea that that piece of creativity was just started on something that I can simply write on. So I like to think about it like that. Like the journals can be anything that you can get that thought out on, and giving you the freedom to do that. So even in journaling practice, is what you feel right to do. Right. My mother is someone that writes, that can easily write for like an hour in the morning. I don't have that same thing, but I do write in the morning. So I like to tell people it's the outlet that you need it to be at that time. And that is defined by you. So what do you need in that moment? And that's going to dictate your journaling practice.
I wonder if you can relate to as well is just looking back on journal entries and getting information. It's almost like because it's a former version of the thoughts are like former places you've been, former versions of you, former seasons of you. What kind of value do you find in having this written history of Mya? And does it support any of your development in the present? And if so, how?
Absolutely. I think the ability to identify patterns is going to be there, right? You're going to see if you go back and look, you're going to see, oh, maybe I'm doing this behavior this time of year. Every year I fall into this pattern, right? Or every time I get into this situation, I fall into this pattern. So I certainly encourage people, and I do it in my practice, of going back to look at the journals whenever it comes to me in my mind. So I can't say that I do it every day, but if I feel it on my heart, like go look at that journal, right, and see what you wrote. Just go look at it and see what's there. Sometimes I have been intentional about it, put a calendar, a mark in my calendar, go back in 6 months and see how far you've come. I have been intentional. And that practice actually came from my MFA. My thesis was on journaling and movement as modalities of therapy. And the most interesting part about creating that thesis was that most of it was my journals. I literally went and gathered a stack of my journals and was just, oh, okay, during this time. And then you went to this class and then this happened and then this thing and you met these people. So I was able to write my thesis from my journal, which also felt empowering in that oftentimes we think the answer is without and we have to go and find this thing, but all of the answers were literally in my thoughts, in my lived experiences. And that just felt like love, like being understanding the complexity of the creator and all that was poured into me. Yeah, so
that was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us. I feel like that's deep. It's a deeply personal journey. And I love that for you because who wouldn't love to just be able to kind of weave that into and just have the opportunity to really examine with the space and latitude to do so, like in a thesis.
What would you say to someone who, at my stage, my transition is a lot shorter, based on chronological age. I think about who's going to be looking at my stuff, right? So what would you say to someone to sort of move them through that challenge?
Yeah, a couple of things. From my experience of that journal violation, I learned to be very intentional about where I place my journals. Because I just put it down, right? Right. It's like a very simple thing, but it also was not something that I thought of. I also am now in a point where if you look at my journal, bless your heart, You opened that door, right?
Okay.
That was not for you. You opened that door. In a younger version of myself, I changed names.
Mm.
I made stories. I remember an experience of having to get the thing out because it felt like poison.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wrote it out as a story. I said, oh, this is a mermaid and this person is a hunter and there's a witch. And I just wrote, like, I just put those characters in so that I could write. And people thought it was a story. It
Yeah.
was a story, but they didn't understand because there was a character there. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand. So I offer
That
that to
character might have been them.
looky here, looky here. If you need to release it and it doesn't, and you don't want it to be read, captured by someone else,
Mm-hmm.
let it pass.
Yeah. What prompted you to make that offering for other women? And can you talk to us a little bit about the journals you've created and perhaps any journaling activities that you facilitate?
Sure. It was that MFA process. Because I was journaling in that process, and because I was also, because I'm a dancer, the work had to be paired with some type of movement.
Mm.
And I was working in a company, and I noticed that we were giving corrections to the women in the company, giving them the same corrections over and over and over again. And I sat and wrote down the corrections one day and looked at how they were moving and noticed this relationship between the correction, how they were moving, and what they were experiencing in their lives. So,
Mhm.
for example, there was a woman who we kept telling her she needed to jump in the choreography. You need to jump, you need to jump, you need to jump. She would not jump. She would lift her arms up, but she wouldn't jump. And
Mm-hmm.
we're like, you're not jumping, you're lifting your shoulders. And in dialogue with the group of women, just speaking about life, she talked about not feeling grounded,
Mm.
and having to move a lot, and just not feeling grounded. So
Mm.
her body didn't want to jump because she already didn't feel grounded.
You
And
weren't.
that started to continue to like, so what's these stories that we have in our bodies and
Mm.
how they're playing out in our life? And is there a way to bring that to the forefront
Mm.
of our minds? And I was like, well, I'm noticing this. And I noticed it because I was journaling. What if I offer the journals to women?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What if I gave them this tool and we talked about it, and they had this thing to identify these things in themselves and decide if it's something that they want to carry forward. It just came out of that, like just me loving the women in my company,
Wow.
and then extending that to the outer community, and then just wanting it to continue. I heard this saying a while ago, the destruction of a civilization begins in its home.
Mm-hmm.
And flipping that on its head, then the growth, the rebuilding of a civilization can begin in its homes as well. So
Mm.
what if we were very intentional with helping women to heal, because she feeds the family, she feeds the community, and
Mm.
how can I be a part of that? I can't meet every woman, but I can make this accessible tool for them that might spark something that has a greater impact.
Mm.
And that's where the collection came from.
I see.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot help but think about when you speak of just the insights that you observe. And I think also like the writing supports our perception and our sensitivity to the things in our environment. Um, we see and observe and take in, I think, more when we're in the practice of like processing our own thoughts and letting them flow like through us and out. And then we can, because we're so perceptive about our internal world, we are also more cognizant and sensitive and responsive to the people around us and what their experiences might be.
Mhm.
Um, and I cannot help but think of, it may seem unrelated to you all, but I am in a dreaming group and we meet every other Sunday. And I would say this is probably my journaling practice more so of writing my dreams
Mm,
probably twice, 2 or 3 times a week. Um, and it gives me so much data about who I am as a person. And in like the tradition that we kind of study, your waking life is also a dream, and
mm,
your sleeping life is also considered a dream. So, but both are equally informative, with the dreams being kind of like the more raw and the imagery that you see in your dream being more symbolic. And yeah. So I'm curious if dreaming ever makes its way into your journal practice. And if so, not to get too personal, because I do believe dreams are very, very personal. But if so, um, how so? Yeah.
Yeah, I have been working on doing the dreaming journal. My dreams are so complex and and
So
I feel like I wake up and I'm sitting on the side of the bed like, oh my gosh. So I don't even have the words yet
mm, mm,
to put what I just experienced in that dream world onto paper.
mm.
Although it's been suggested. So I'm receiving that as another suggestion to
Okay.
do this thing. So while I haven't done that, I do a not a morning, what is it called? Morning minutes, where I
Mhm.
set a timer and I just write in the morning, first thing in the morning. So say thank you to the creator, go to that before I speak to people
Mhm.
as a way to kind of maybe digest portions of the dream, but also to get that stuff that's back there out here and be able to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. So, what would you say to someone who wants to start but is apprehensive, maybe for maybe lack of commitment, they feel like they won't commit to it, or doesn't know how to structure a journal, or maybe putting a lot of pressure on themselves about it for whatever reason? What would you say to someone who wants to start but doesn't know how?
I would say a very cliche thing, just start. Just start and ask yourself a few questions. What
Mm,
does commitment look like to you?
Mm,
mm,
And what's easy for you to write on?
okay.
mm. Okay.
So you set the goals for yourself because commitment might be I know people that journal several times a day. I
Mm,
know people that journal once a month.
mm,
Um, but
Mm,
what's your idea of commitment so that you're not trying to meet somebody else's expectations? You're meeting what feels good to you. And then what is accessible to you? It might be that black and white marble composition notebook, but it
mm,
might be the notes in your phone,
mm,
mm, mhm,
mhm.
but still putting that agency in yourself so that you are in alignment with what you think is possible and your commitment.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel like I'm gonna start some. I'm feeling more confident already.
There we go. Because it is about confidence. I remember somebody saying that confidence is your ability to confide in yourself. So it's keeping promises to yourself. So
Mm,
if you say this is the commitment, commitment looks like this for me, then I'm following that promise that I made with myself. And that's what builds your confidence. And that's kind of stuck with me. Like I'm like, okay.
Maya, I am curious, are there different styles of journaling, or is it like a freestyle, or what are some like different ways that people approach like when they actually put pen to paper?
Yeah. There's freestyle journaling, which is just you pick up a pen and something to write with and something to write on, and you just go. In that, there's also an idea of timed, where you set a timer and you just write, and you don't stop writing until that timer goes off. So even if you're writing yes, 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 no, 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 the idea is that something eventually will come up.
mm,
Yeah, so there's that free form where you just pen to paper and you just let it come, you just let it rise. There's also guided journaling where you're given a prompt, a question, and you write to that prompt. I feel like the guided journaling is easier to give you direction afterwards because you wrote about a specific thing, and usually in that response are some type of action items or some piece of clarity that will allow you to go forward, versus just in the free writing you might just get the release.
Okay.
There's also drawing. A lot of people draw what's
mm.
coming up, and make some wonderful masterpieces from that. So I feel like there are wonderful ways to get in where you fit in. And it's really just about not even speaking to, allowing your spirit to come forth. What
Mm,
does your spirit need right now? And being okay with it changing. Just because writing at 6 a.m. in the morning worked for 6 months doesn't mean that it's going to work for the next two. And being okay with that because life is ever changing. So your needs are going to change.
yeah, yeah. I'm encouraged, honestly, to pick my journals up more consistently through this conversation. Yeah.
Me
I
too.
yeah. I think I want to develop a journaling practice, low
Mhm.
pressure, but I just want to maybe something as simple as putting a reminder, posting a reminder somewhere in my space,
Mhm.
to journal and have my journal in that space where I can just maybe drop in, sit down in a chair, pick up the journal that's there, write,
Mhm.
even if it's just for 2, 3 minutes, and then
Yeah.
get up and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is like encouraging me to do that.
And remember to go back to it and read it at some point.
Yes. Yeah.
I go back and do with my morning pages. I wrote today, and at the end of my writing today, I went back and read what I wrote yesterday.
Mm.
And I just started that maybe within the last year. But there have been some jewels there. I'm like, okay. I feel like I'm coaching myself through things. Like,
Wow.
okay, you do have this. It's really not falling apart. There's some continuity.
Right. You're doing it.
It's better than it was yesterday.
Yeah. I'm I'm so I am so I just want to show my book, right? So
Ooh.
this is a Dinker journal. This was a gift from a dear sister friend of mine. And I found that I went back and I just looked, I got some jewels in here.
Mhm.
Yes, and look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
So I got some stuff in here. But I tend to get excited about something and I write about that, right? And then I put it down. So like I haven't picked up this particular journal for like 3 months.
Mhm.
And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I got I got a password here for some account. I don't know, but I wrote a password in here. See, I wasn't doing that right. But I have found that and this is probably because I'm retired now. When I was working, I had a book that I went around with. So it would have, same as you were talking about earlier, Jen, we might have my to-do list and different things, but I always captured something in my journals or my workbooks that somebody said that was really, really important, like a jewel that they dropped. And as I was going back and looking, I see all these jewels. But what I was thinking about was I'm not going to places or conferences or events where I'm doing that and picking up that kind of information. Um, so I'm just thinking, because I don't like the prompt question. Sometimes I
Mhm.
don't feel like answering the prompt, and I'm not a freestyle. Well, I don't think I'm a freestyle person,
Mhm.
right? But I I like what you said. Just right, yes, until something comes.
Something appears.
But what would you like? I want to start or restart my journaling practice. What would
Mhm.
you suggest I do? Like if I was going to say, okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to do this. What would you think? What would you suggest I do?
I would say look through those jewels
Uh-huh. Okay.
because there might be something there. And maybe it came to you in that moment because it was there, but it wasn't time to address it yet.
Ah, okay.
So go back to those jewels. Interesting enough, I was doing a similar thing where I was calling them words of wisdom,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
collecting them, and they were everywhere. So I finally started like, let me put them somewhere
Mm-hmm.
so that they're coming to me for a reason. And my first series of journals were just that. They were words of wisdom. It was a quote at the
Ah.
top of the page. And I noticed in myself that looking at that quote was triggering something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was it was triggering something. It was inspiring something. So I was then getting stuff from that. It might have been something professionally. It might have been something for one of my personal relationships. But I would say go back to those jewels. There's
Mm-hmm.
something there, ready to be cracked open at this point.
Gotcha. And this is what came to me. Is it a practice like you mentioned, sort of like I would write something on a script piece of paper or somewhere like that, sort of pulling those things together so that they're in one place. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. I
yeah,
can do that
yeah.
too. All right.
Right. Yeah. My father passed away a few years ago, and he wrote on anything. He
Mm.
literally wrote on anything. So in his wallet, there's theories and notes and jewels on the back of lottery tickets, on the back of parking, like
Mm. Mhm.
everything. And what we were able to do, one of my sisters and I, were to compile those things. And it almost felt like instructions, enlightenment. Because we were able to bring them back together. And that's why I say you have the jewels, put them in a place because
Yeah.
I got that idea from my father passing to oh, these things are spread out. What would happen? What information do I get when I put them together? And realistically, that isn't that how books are written, right? Like you're going out and you're researching, and then you bring it all together to make something for someone. So why not do that for yourself, right? Yeah.
Now, thank you. Oh, I got my Sunday jewel today. Right? Bringing it all together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because that is such a, as a daddy's girl, that's just such a precious gift that he left behind.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's beautiful.
Hmm.
Maya, so you do have journals that you that are for sale.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about where folks can find those and how they can connect with you and learn more about your work?
Sure. I do have a website, myaDspecialist.com, has all of my journal collection is there. And I'm also active on social media. So TikTok, I'm learning it. Oh my gosh. TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are also easy ways to access me and my journal collections. I've even walked into live journaling sessions. So now I'm curating virtual sessions where we journal, but also in-person journaling sessions. So please reach out to me. Mya Journals on social media platforms, Mya D Specialist website. Let's collaborate and grow together.
I say.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. This conversation has, well, we were originally trying to pour into listeners. I feel like Eldris and I both got so much from this discussion.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. I'm about to start today.
We'd love to hear it.
You know, I'll tell you one thing that happened. I had a journal, like I bought a book. It was about this thick, but it was really compact. So I could put it in one of my purses and take it someplace and just write. And I wrote in that thing for several years because it was so thick. And I was talking to someone earlier this year, and they were at a conference that I had attended about 11 years ago. And I was sharing, no, it was longer than that. I think it was like 12 years ago. And I was sharing, oh yeah, I remember you said such and such at this conference. And this was, so he said, what? I said, yeah, you said we should do this. And so I took that as instruction and went back to, because I had seen him in a conference in Baltimore, but we were in Rochester. So I went back to Rochester and started implementing things. He couldn't believe the jewel that he dropped on us, right?
Wow.
But I was able to go back and say word for word, this is exactly what you said, because this is what I had wrote down. So I'm just thinking now, like I have all these little pieces that were important enough so that I kept them. And so that's where I'm going to be starting. I'm going to go and pull all those things that are really important and sort of pull them out and do my words of wisdom.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put a pin in that because I want to update. I gotta definitely have to go back to that.
That might be a book. Excuse me, it might end up being a book.
See?
Yeah, book itself.
Mm-hmm.
Maya, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, the rest of your weekend. That has been this episode of Women in Bloom. If you are tuning in, please give us, and if you've enjoyed yourself, if you've genuinely enjoyed listening today, please give us a like, a follow, a comment. Check out Mya D Specialist. Yeah, go online and show some love. And that is it for today. Thank you so much, Maya.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you so much, Maya. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.